Welcome back to another festive Dexter New Blood review. This week, episode 9, The Family Business. What an amazing title and what an amazing episode. I usually do 3 big yays and then 3 big nays, but this week I have almost no nays. I have one nay, but I kind of fix it, later in the episode. This episode was just so good. Let's get right into it. Big yay number 5, flashback to original Dexter. Oh sweet glorious Dexter, it was so beautiful and amazing to be back with Dexter in the sun-soaked, hot, sweaty Miami, the kill costume, the music, just hearing that original score again was just so beautiful. The music is so enchanting and majestic and beautiful. I just absolutely love it. And having all this build where we get little teasers of like music that almost sounds like it later in the season, but then just we're back, flashback, and we just have that original music playing was just brilliant. I felt like I was transported back to 10 years ago when the original series was out. It was just incredible. And that killer, Wiggles the Clown, the tiny glimpse we get of this monster is truly despicable and just horrific. There's nothing worse than a predator hiding in plain sight, using his position of power over children. Absolutely despicable. How dare he disgrace clowns, and how dare he disgrace the name of the beloved Australian children's performers, the Wiggles. It's so great how Dexter is narrating and he's got the kill costume and it just feels like we're back in hot, sweaty Miami, but he's kind of narrating like a bit too heavy-handed, like it's a bit over-explanatory, and you're kind of like, are you just like reading the synopsis of your show? And then it's revealed it's because he's narrating and explaining to Harrison. It's such a great little moment where we get the flashback, we get that amazing moment, that glimpse into the past, but it's also informing Harrison, which is really, really great stuff. I really enjoyed it. It was something I didn't realize I needed, but it was so cathartic to look back at Dexter and have like an extra little scene and not like using a flashback from the show. Great to film new footage, a new killer that he's taken down. It was really, really awesome stuff. Dexter, the music, finally explained to Harrison. It was all so perfect. But then Deb kind of comes in and ruins it a little bit. Big nay number 1. But it's kind of not a big nay because it kind of gets fixed. But in the moment, it still was kind of like frustrating. So he's explaining it all. It's finally all out in the open. The dark passenger. And Harrison's like, the dark passenger? And he's saying the words, the dark passenger. And it's all coming out. It's all so exciting. And I'm just like shaking in my chair. I just couldn't handle it. And then Deb convinces him, to not explain it properly and to go all the way. And she's like, don't you dare explain the blood slides. Don't you show your trophies. Don't you explain that you're a serial killer. No killing. It's just so frustrating because we spent so long this season kind of dragging it out a little bit. I kind of wish this reveal had happened earlier. I just would have more time to spend with this. And so finally, as it's happening, to then kind of postpone it again. And at that point when it first happens, I'm like, oh, is he just not going to tell him? That's so annoying. How dare you, Dead Ghost? You've barely been annoying and bad recently. You've actually been like fine and just almost not in it. And now you come in and you ruin this great moment. Because Harrison is going to accept the code. Like, he tried to hurt his friend, but he kind of framed it like, so he's a hero. So Harry's code is perfect for him. He's totally going to embrace it. So just tell him, Dexter. But it turns out that fear was ill-founded, and my only part of the episode I disliked was fixed later with an incredible moment that just absolutely blew my mind. Big yay number 4. Kurt's trophies are revealed. Kurt's trophies are revealed, and in that moment, Dexter finally reveals. He finally lets it off his chest, and it's such a moment. The audience sighs with Dexter as he finally gets to unburden himself. He killed Wiggles. He killed Trinity. Oh, him telling that to Harrison. I screamed. I'm just like, yes! Yes! I just fist pumping the air like I'm watching the football. It was so amazing, so exciting. Oh, joyous day it is. It truly is the most wonderful time of the year. Kurt goes to Dexter's house to burn it to the ground. He's got his sniper gun waiting for them to come running out. But actually, Dexter and Harrison are at his trophy bunker. They find it, and it's really fun to see both serial killers at each other's homes, great dark passengers think alike or whatever. That trophy bunker room I knew it was going to be something disturbing because they had been building it up and we'd been seeing all these little snippets, but actually seeing it fully realized was just terrifying. It was honestly one of those moments, when you see something so disturbing and it's so shocking to your body that you can't you're trying to process it, so you process it poorly. I was terrified laughter. I was just like, what? It was so unpleasant to behold, having so many of them, and the way they're preserved and packaged, and all painted up like they're dolls in packaging, preserved forever. Just absolutely despicable, and I just despised it. It was so unnerving and horrific. And then we get the reveal of Molly being one of Kurt's victims, which I didn't pick up on it last week that she wasn't in it, but someone in the comments pointed it out. And when I was like, oh yeah, in that last episode, you see Kurt just like looking at Molly, and it ends on that. So I don't know why I didn't notice that. I was too wrapped up in all the other stuff going on, I guess. But yes, we got the Molly reveal. I knew it was going to be like this to kind of show what he's doing with the trophies, and we, do that via Molly. Which was really sad, and it's heartbreaking, but I didn't love her as a character. I loved the idea of her. She worked really well to progress the story, and I love the idea of the podcast and all that kind of stuff, but actually her character, I wasn't just, so heartbroken. So I think maybe if they had a couple of extra scenes, characterized her a little differently, that would have really hit home in a different way. But you know what? That's not even a big nay. That's just like a tiny, tiny little thing, because honestly, everything that's happening in this episode is working so well. It's exhilarating, terrifying TV. But yeah, the trophies, seeing them all in that room, it was just one of those moments where I'm like, man, sometimes you forget. And it happened again with the clown right at the start. It was just laughing and touching little kid pictures. It's just, my God, this show is so dark sometimes. It's just so unpleasant and just horrific. Sometimes it's so hard to watch. And so the trophy bunker room finally has the amazing Dexter reveal to Harrison that he's the killer of killers. Harrison's acceptance of it, and Dexter's just joy and relief of seeing that Harrison is accepting him finally, truly, and that moment of embrace was just, it just warms the heart. And then you're like, wait, it's warming my heart? This show, it's so complicated and amazing. I just love it. One of my issues with the season is they're just dragging out the Harrison-Dexter kind of moment where they get to embrace dark passengers together. But honestly, this episode did so much, so well, that it kind of works for me that it took so long. That cathartic release and just that joy of it finally happening. The build-up and the, dragging it out makes this moment so much more satisfying and amazing. And last week, I kind of wanted the moment where he tells him to be more dramatic and amazing than them just driving. And he's like, I might have a bit of a cheeky dark passenger too. And what I was really hoping with the idea of Kurt being dead on the ground, in the snow, after Dexter being covered in his blood, and then he tells Harrison, was just something grand and epic, and something very visual to represent why Dexter is doing the right thing, killing all these serial killers. And then this episode does it. They're in the trophy room, they're in the trophy bunker, and there's just all these preserved boxes of women, like dolls, in this terrifying, horrific, it's so dramatic, it's so over the top, it's so heightened, and it absolutely works. So when he tells Harrison, Harrison just looks around, he's like, yeah, we gotta go bloody kill Kurt right now. This son of a bitch deserves to die. And he does. And it reinforces why this show is so complicated, and the moral questions and dilemma it kind of poses on the audience of Dexter, this serial killer, this monster. But he's doing the right thing. And it's just, I don't know. It's such a great moment. I absolutely loved it. Pretty much every issue I had last week was fixed and heightened and made better and redeemed. And yeah, just mwah. Big yay, number 3. It's Christmas time in the Dexter household! Last week, it was Christmas Eve, and I completely spaced it, obviously, if the next episode is going to follow straight on, which it did. It's Christmas time, baby! There were so many amazing Christmas elements to this episode. Dexter cutting up a body to It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year Christmas song was just so delightful. And Deb goes being like, this is despicable. Your mother was cut up by body parts and now you're cutting up body parts. And he's like, get out of my face. This is just what I do. Dexter will be Dexter. So good. It's so funny, and that perverse use of the Christmas song just works so well. Dexter giving Harrison all these Christmas presents. He's just by the fireplace being like, oh yeah, is that one for me? Oh, you bloody check it out. Probably for you. It just warmed my heart. It was so sweet and so nice. It just was so beautiful to see these characters finally accepting each other and loving each other as father and son. Oh, my heart, my little heart. But then we have that classic Dexter twist on a brilliant, happy, normal situation. And he's like, okay, I've got another present to fit in, to blend in a little bit, to hide our dark passengers. Ugly Christmas sweaters, baby! Oh, yes! There's nothing I love more than an ugly Christmas sweater. I love it so much. It's so hot here today, but I couldn't help it. I have to put it on. Seeing them blend in, and the other two, like Angela and her daughter, are just like, wow, that's some Christmas sweaters you got going on there. And they're like, yeah, we just love it. And then her present to Dexter is also another Christmas sweater. I loved it so much, so fun. But just with that little bit of that underlining, they're not doing it because they love it, but because they're trying to fit in. Just Dexter at its best, 10 out of 10 stuff. So I made a huge claim last week that Kurt definitely should have been killed when they had the big confrontation. He kills Kurt, blood all over him. He's like, Harrison, I've got the dark passenger. But oh man, how happy I am to be proven wrong. You always have ideas and thoughts after something happens, but until something's fully done, there's always chances to redeem and fix, or to change and make you look back on your past issues and go, oh no, now I see, now I'm looking at the bigger picture. You can see why they've kind of done it the way they have. And this episode, having them have that fun Christmas moment, there's an underlining like, Angela knows, but she's not like letting it on very well. She's really, really good. Her acting's actually getting a lot better. I really like this kind of broken woman who's so terrified to find out that he is the monster that she's slowly finding out that he is. It's really heartbreaking stuff. I don't really love her, but what she's giving us performance-wise is a lot stronger than earlier in the season, I think. But Kurt's like, I'm here to ruin Christmas. I'm the bloody Grinch, mate. When he walks into the room and he's like, oh, Dexter and Harrison. I didn't realize you were here. Otherwise, I would have got a gift for you too. Oh, so chilling, so terrifying. Such a great moment of like, the episode's having a lot of fun at that point. It's like really joyous. And then it's like, oh no, shit's hit the fan, shit's real. And then they bolt out of the room. I got huge Trinity in season 4 coming up to Dexter's work. And he's like, hello, Dexter Morgan. Huge vibes like that. Really, really great stuff. Even the end credits had an ugly sweater vibe to it. Just, so good. It was such a great choice to incorporate Christmas into the back half of this season. Christmas is always associated with family and togetherness. And in this episode, Dexter and Harrison, father and son, are finally together and they're happy and it's sweet and glorious. And it's such a great use of Christmas to, to heighten and incorporate all the themes of the show into this kind of, event that's happening over the whole world on that day. It's really great stuff. It's just so good. I couldn't believe how good this episode was. Big yay number 2. Dexter is Batman? Every time this show references that Dexter is like Batman, it brings me so much joy. It's so funny. The show has never been afraid to, be a little bit on the nose. Dexter's dark passenger narration is like 40% just dark humor word puns, and it's always hilarious. The show never shies away from being very funny and silly like that, and I just love it. In this episode, we get 2 references. Harrison saying to his father, like, oh my god, you're like Batman. It's just, I don't know why, it just makes me laugh so much. I just love it. And then, bloody podcast lady in her podcast, in the same episode, she's like, he's like Batman. It's like, yes, he is. He's pretty much Batman. He's just got a bloodier code and a bloodier origin story. I prefer the Dark Defender. Oh, yeah, you do, Dexter. Yeah, you do. And unlike in Miami, it's not too hot to wear spandex in Iron Lakes. Someone make a fan art of that, please, and please send it to me. Or link me if someone else has done that. That would make, I was going to say it'll make my day. It'll make my entire week. That would be so funny. Big yay, number 1. Dexter and Harrison kill Kurt together. How many times have you done this? Go big or go home. In the hundreds. That means you've saved thousands of people. Yeah! Oh, this final moment was so incredible, I couldn't handle it. The moment Dexter is like throwing down the plastic wrap and Harrison's just there, I screamed. I'm just up out of my chair, just like, yeah! Oh, it was so glorious. It was so amazing. And not just because they're there together, the build-up, but then the conversation and the scene they have with Kirk was spectacular. I still do think that elements of this season have been dragged out with Harris and Dexter's relationship, but this episode pretty much fixes all of that. It's just so good. The build is worth it. The moment is so palpable. And then we've got this kind of horror moment of like, they're finally together. They're finally happy. There's only 1 episode to go, so now there's this horrible kind of twist that I never really expected when I kind of wanted to have more episodes with this, where now it's like, everything's so good, everything's so happy, and it's finally together, and it's clearly not going to end that way at the end of the next hour of TV. Like, something's going to happen. It's like, and so quickly, so horribly fast after this brilliant moment where they're together. It's actually heartbreaking and terrifying and sad, which, I don't know, maybe you should have dragged it out. Maybe you only want to have this little moment where they're finally together so that when it's all crushed and destroyed and ruined at the end of this season, which I really think it will be, it's just going to be devastating. So, hats off to the writers. Maybe they did know what they were doing all along. We finally get the soulful D&M with fellow serial killer Kurt. I love how Kurt just kind of goes, oh, yep, this was me, all this stuff, it was me. And then he's kind of like, how great was all of this? How cool is all of this? And then he kind of tries to like, which is just terrifying and scary, like how just open he is once he realizes it's over. He's like, yeah, I may as well, embrace it, like wear it on my chin or whatever. But the way that he's like, no, I saved them all. I preserved them. They're all just going to run off and be tortured and raped by people like my dad. So I'll just kill them? Yeah, good logic there. Then Dexter vilifying Kurt and saying his rationale is absolutely bullshit and it's all about power and control and he loves the hunt and the kill and all that. And it's like, Dexter, Dexter, do you realize how ironic you're being? Do you realize how full of shit you are? You love the hunt. You love the kill. Your code, your Harry's code is your rationale bullshit. Harrison's right there. What if he sees through your lie? And then Kurt's like, calls him on his shit. And Kurt's like, hey, what? You're judging me, but what's all this plastic wrap and shit, you psychopath? And then before he can kind of say anything to twist Harrison in any way, Dexter's like, whoa, 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 and he puts like a thing in his mouth to stop him talking. Once again, Dexter is at its best when he has a villain, a serial killer like him on the table, and we learn more about Dexter, they talk, we have that soulful D&M, he has that therapy session, and then Dexter's like, well, the show's about me though, so you're dead! It's so good, and this one really, Dexter calling Kurt out for his rationale and his like trophies and all this stuff is just such a great reminder of why the show works so well. Because Dexter is saving lives and doing all this stuff. Like as Harrison says, it's like, we're doing the right thing. And he's like, yeah, that's the idea. Help and make the world a better place. But you're not really doing it because of that, Dexter. You're doing it because you need to do it. Like, you just happen to have been guided through Harry's code. And I think this really all reminds me of the greatest line in the entire series, I think, when Lundy and him have a conversation in season 2. Lundy says, the only reason to take a life is to save the life of an innocent. And then Dexter thinks in his narration, he's like, I didn't do this to save lives, but save them I did. And that's the kind of moral quandary of the show. It's like, even though he's a monster with no feelings and he's disgusting, he has to kill, he is only killing killers and pedophiles and Wiggles the Clown people and the Minotaur Mans of the world and all these horrific, disgusting people. So, is he justified? Is he not? Should he be punished? Should he be let to save thousands of lives? Maybe he's killed hundreds, but he's saved thousands. And I just love how this conversation, everything with Harrison and him and Kurt, it's all really building to what I found so fascinating about the original series. And now it's left us at this point at the end of this episode where it's like, man, I really did think I wanted him to be punished. I wanted Angel to come back in. I wanted Masuka to find out. I wanted all these things. But now this episode really reminds me, it's like, is that what I want? Will I be happy and satisfied with that? After how great this episode was, I'm happy just to let the finale do what it's going to do. Because for so much of this season, I've been wanting it to play out a certain way, and it's been slowly getting further and further away from that. Like, I really feel like it's going to be almost weird if Angel rocks up again. Unless the cold open of next episode is Angela calling up Angel and they're like, I need backup, we're taking down the B-Hubba Butcher. But at this point, it really feels like this is a tight, contained story separate to Miami's, all of that stuff. And I almost kind of wish Angel hadn't been in the show just to kind of make me not wish that he was in more of it. I've been getting more nervous as to how this finale and how the end of Dexter is going to wrap up. Like, Clyde Phillips, he's like, I'm going to fix the ending. This ending will blow up the internet. We started from the ending and worked back, so my expectation was so high. But now I'm like, I really feel like he did know where he's going with all this, and it's just so exciting. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, bloody like, subscribe, comment, all the things, and bloody let me know, what did you all think about this episode? Am I wrong? Were there some big nays in this episode that I missed? Or are you like me, and you're just like, wow, this show is firing on all cylinders, it's all big yays. Let me know your favourite moments in the show. Let me know what you think about Kurt now that he's dead. I'm still not sure where he kind of ranks in, with all the other serial killers of the year. I'm actually just making a rankings of the original big bad serial killers of the year of original Dexter. And I was thinking, like, as I was making that, like, where would Kurt stack up in this list? And I still don't know. I think I have to sit on it. I'm probably going to make another video about that. I'd love to know what everyone else thinks. Where does he stack up for you? Did you like him? Did you not? Let me know. What does everyone want from a finale now? Do we really want it to end with one more episode? Do you want a secret season 2 of the show? Like, what does everyone want? Let me know. Let me know your big nays, your big yays, everything. Oh, it's just, Dexter's so good!